Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel that I just started this month of January, and I wanted to welcome you guys because this is the first episode, but I also wanted to give you heads up in an introduction, like a brief introduction to whatever we're going to be posting, to be doing. And basically this channel is about everything that has to do with arts. Mostly we're going to be talking about acting, music. I'm going to interview models, beauty queens. We're going to be talking about pageants. And in this episode, I'm going to be telling you guys how it is that I started my modeling academy here in Calgary. My name is Angelo, and this is Backstage with Angelo. I would probably like to talk to you guys about is how I got my material, how I got my understanding, and how did I learn about modeling, because many people have asked me that before. You have never done modeling yourself, so how it is that you know so much about modeling? And the answer is very simple. I started watching pageants when I was 12 years old, probably. I was watching this pageant called Our International Beauty, which in Spanish is Nuestra Belleza Internacional, 1994. And I was just watching Miss Venezuela, my homie. She was introducing herself, and I was so amazed to see that. And I was like, that was the first pageant I had ever seen. So after that, of course, my life was just, watching pageants over and over again. For example, I would watch one pageant and probably like 3 or 4 times in a day, over and over, and so on for so many years. And it was not until the year 2001 when, after graduating from college in computer science, I had this project with a couple friends of mine. It was about a digital magazine where we had to interview people that used to work in show business back home in my hometown, Maracaibo. And it was super fun. It was a great project. I enjoy it a lot about it. I remember that one day we were invited to join the press, the press staff of the pageant. It was a local pageant, but the 2 guys that were running it, they were very, very knowledgeable people about the modeling world. So these guys would train models that would go after to compete in Miss Venezuela, and then they were training these girls that were competing in this local pageant. So I noticed that my job was basically doing interviews to them, to the girls. These 2 guys were teaching those girls how to become models. They were basically teaching them modeling. And I was like, what? You know what? I'm going to grab pen and paper. I'm going to start writing everything down, and then I'm going to, make my own modeling book that I'm always going to remember. So what I would do is I would go home after everything was done, like the interviews with the girls and some recording and pictures. It was super fun. It was a great project. I enjoy it a lot about it. And so I remember that one day we were invited to join the press, the press staff of the pageant. It was a local pageant, but the 2 guys that were running it, they were very, very knowledgeable people about the modeling world. These guys would train models that would go after to compete in Miss Venezuela, and then they were training these girls that were competing in this local pageant. So I noticed that my job was basically doing interviews to them, to the girls, about their day-to-day in every rehearsal. And these 2 guys were teaching those girls how to become models. They were basically teaching them modeling techniques. And I was like, what? You know what? I'm going to grab pen and paper. I'm going to start writing everything down, and then I'm going to, make my own modeling book that I'm always going to remember. So what I would do is I would go home after everything was done, like the interviews with the girls and some recording, and start reading all that, memorizing every single line, and practicing it myself. Because one thing is to know how to do it, and something different is to teach other people how to do it, right? So it's two different competences, and so that's how I learned it. Over the years, I kept, practicing, reading through my notes, watching pageants. I finally was able to put names to whatever the girls would do in a pageant. Every turn, every runway, the way they sat down. That's why the modeling world is so rich. My advice, if you guys want to open your own modeling business or your own modeling academy, you guys need to know, or receive training from people who have had training before, people who have been in the field of pageants or modeling. You need to get the knowledge from someone, right? There's really few books about it. I honestly cannot suggest anything right now because I didn't learn by books. I learned by watching and taking notes. And then in 2012, when I came to Canada, I remember I wanted to do something related to modeling. I was so obsessed. I wanted to do something that had to do with modeling. So I was thinking, well, maybe I should talk to people in the industry, but who? Who would I be reaching out to? I didn't even know was. I started talking to a few agencies in town. I contacted Miss Universe Canada organization, for example, and I had the honor to work with them for a while for Miss Universe Canada 2014. I was the fashion walk instructor for the girls of Alberta that were competing in Toronto that year for the title of Miss Universe Canada, of course. And it was a great experience. I did it through an agency that hired me for those months that the rehearsals or the girls had to be trained for. And I guess they saw my potential, that I knew what I was doing, and I really had knowledge, and I really knew how to teach them how to model and everything that had to do with pageants. 4 out of 11 girls that I trained, they made it to the top 20 in Miss Universe Canada 2014. And that was, for me, I felt so fulfilled. It was a huge experience. I really loved working with them. It was amazing. I loved it, and I would do it. When you want to do something and you feel like you should do it, you just have to go try it and be a go-get person and try to do the things you really want to do. Many people were asking me, why don't you get your own modeling academy? Why don't you start training girls like formally as an academy? I was like, well, because I don't still feel like I have a structure, and I wasn't too sure about doing that myself. So I did a couple bad decisions back then, and then I just decided to do the things that I knew, just do it myself. I certainly know that if you want to do things well, you should do it yourself. If you want to get there faster, just get along with people. But sometimes it is a little bit difficult. You still need to get to know people a little bit more, talk to them, and find out if you guys are the right match to work together in a project. So after a lot of suggestions from my models and the girls that I was training for Miss Universe Canada, Miss Calgary, Miss Tropic Beauty, I wasn't going to start my modeling agency or academy without having a structure of whatever was going to happen there. So I spent a whole year creating my own program with everything that I remembered, that I knew about modeling. That would include fashion walk. We need to hire someone to teach acting to my models. I had to write down about fashion walk, pageantry, social refinement, and a lot of other things. I also included in the program, I included languages and some of the things that I considered the girls that it would be beneficial for them. I didn't want to create models that would just look great on the outside. I also wanted models that had something else to do or say or to give back to the community. So that's one thing that we promote. I think that's one thing you guys need to take into account if you want to train people. Remember, teaching is a very noble occupation. So you need to transmit the values that you consider are part of your project to the people that are with you. So basically, to be honest, in my program, I created it, let's say today, and a couple months after, I was doing the revision, because when I saw it, I was like, okay, so there's something missing here that I need to include to make it better, and so on. So I spent a whole year doing revisions, going through reviews, and checking how this would work. And it was not until 2019 when we started teaching like to actual groups of girls the modeling part. I was very it really drew my attention that some things needed to get changed in the program. And you know what, I agreed completely to do it. I was very glad that some people gave me their feedback, and I was like, you know what, that makes sense. We have to change that. So I did it. And I think that's one of the most important parts of an academy. You need to be open to suggestions. You need to be flexible. You need to understand that even though if you know a lot about something, you don't know everything in this world. There's a lot to learn. So you have to be open to suggestions, open to learning, and still keep learning from other people. Now, a question that I've been asked a lot from potential models, girls who dream to become models, is, do I need to take modeling lessons? I can tell you, yes, it would be desirable. Why? It's not that because I'm a school or an academy, it's better for me because financially I'm gonna get more money from you guys paying for a model. But what if I go to class and I start taking lessons from a structured program and I learned everything about it? Even though I don't feel that I need the course, it's going to be beneficial for me because I'm going to be able to teach that to other people in the future, even though open my own modeling academy in the future if I want to do it. So knowledge is important, and you always have to consider that there's people who know a lot about things that you might want to learn about. And yes, that's what courses are for. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the before and after COVID. What happened is that everything changed. Small businesses, we're being really affected by the fact that we cannot, for example, in my case, my academy cannot keep teaching the girls in groups like we used to do before. So that was really something that affected us really hard. I know some people out there are going through the same situation, but what happened was that we had to stop. We stopped teaching our groups in person. We went online for a while. After that, we went back to like inside classes, wearing masks, using sanitizing gel, and so on, and keeping the distance. But then the lockdown came back again recently, and we had to stop. So one thing I would suggest you guys, if you want to open a business, be it modeling or whatever else, you need to learn how to adapt to the situation and just go with it. Try to learn out of it and try to orientate your business towards the fact that there's changes happening and that you need to get used to them and you need to adapt to the current situation. There's pandemic, yes. We still need to continue, yes. Then let's think about something. So that's one thing that we have worked out. We cannot teach group lessons right now. We can only do one-on-one, online, fine. But always have a plan B, especially in these uncertain times. You always need to have some contingency plan, like something that helps you guys, emerge from hard times. And that's been all for today. I just wanted to give you guys a warm welcoming to my channel. This is just the first episode. We're gonna have way more interesting episodes to go. A few people to interview, and that's gonna be great. You're gonna have a lot of fun getting to know more people that we're gonna have here in my program. And of course, you just need to click on subscribe and also click on the bell, because that's gonna let you know when we have more progress and more material to show you guys. So thank you very much for watching, and see you for next episode.
Relax. that.